Let's do it.
Let me sit back.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Yeah, no, actually,
one.
right here.
Trip Digital Radio. Your man DJ Journey and I have Tis the Time over here. We're back once again.
What happened, Journey? Man, you say Trip Digital Radio, sound, art, and expression.
Oh, sound, art, and expression. Yeah. That, I mean, we got to bring that back. You know, we're going through reprogramming right now.
But sound, art, and expression, man. I love that.
Yeah. We'll bring that back. Just don't cry.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Feeling I don't want some type of way about
it. In between anything, you know, I can leave.
No, you are supposed to be here.
It's about our guests.
About you.
Not about our form. But yo, I would like to bring in. He's a friend of mine, and Maurice. There's a thing about this guy, Maurice. Man, there's a thing about him because he was one of those guys that were truly talented when we were coming up in the stages of Hollywood. When things were different. It's a different place in Hollywood right now, but I always admired Maurice because he was just focused. He came to get it and he got it. Right now, let's bring this man in. Maurice James, he's a producer and an entrepreneur. Let's give it up for Mr. James.
Thank you.
And I usually don't say like the names and then, but you're my man, Maurice. We had to get you on the show. When I ran into you, I'm like, dude, I need to know what's good. Because I'm tired of being regular, going to the website and everything. You know,
if there's one thing you are not regular,
I want the story.
He is not a regular man. I like that. No, I appreciate that. It's
yeah, man. Thanks for being on the show, man. Definitely. Thanks for taking the time out, man.
Yeah, no, we go way back. I think Journey was one of those good dudes that when he comes at you and he says, "Hey, I want you to do something for me," you don't say no because you're just one of those guys that you just don't say no about to. Oh, definitely. There we go. Oh, yeah. That sounds way better.
Oh, there
we go.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to be here, man.
I appreciate that, man, because, I mean, I was a watcher, you know, if you will. You know, I was into my music thing, but I always watched everyone, and I got a chance to get to know characters and everything. And, you know, and that's the premise of this radio show. It's like, tell your story, man. I know you, but the world doesn't know you. So we're going to start back from the beginning. Yes. Maurice James, where are you from, man?
Well, I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mississippi?
Yes. Jackson.
Oh, my goodness.
Jackson, Mississippi. It is. Well, it's crazy because everybody has somebody from there, but like not everybody's been back there. So it was a cool place to grow up to. My parents are from Mississippi. They met like in Mississippi. In Tougaloo College, which is like a historically black college university in Jackson, right outside Jackson. So grew up there.
You light skinned now down in Jackson.
Oh, am I light skinned?
You light skinned.
Oh yeah,
I know you light skinned because I'm red, so I know you.
that is a long discussion. Like, how long is this radio show?
I know all about that. That's why I'm like you.
This is crazy. Yeah, no, Mississippi definitely. I definitely passed the brown paper bag test at one point.
Yeah,
and by passed I mean on the other side of it, not the way they mean pass it. So that was a deep cut for all you old school heads out there.
You know what's going on.
But so I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, and then I went to school in New York and in computer programming. Most of my family are left brain folks, and so science, math. I enjoyed programming. It was really great. And I was doing artificial intelligence programming. So it was like,
wow.
Yeah, no, I should be richer. I should be a lot richer than I am right now. Like you were doing AI programming back in the day, and your name is not Gates or Zuckerberg. Like, what's wrong with you, man? You should have been doing something.
Well, you went to Hollywood. You didn't go up to Silicon Valley.
Exactly. So
you should have been up there, man.
He came down here for the weather.
I don't like cold weather. I grew up in Mississippi, man.
That's what it is.
New York was great, but like, you go through a couple of those winters and you're like, man,
I'm with you.
Right.
I suffered.
You suffered.
Yeah,
Which school did you go to?
Columbia.
Yeah. So you're uptown.
Is that when you two first met? Was when you were in school in Columbia?
No.
Was it after?
No.
It was after when I moved out here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, it's here. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I was actually born in New York at the time, but I was like a baby when I was born there.
Yeah.
And I came back to Mississippi when I was like 3. So I went back to New York. Then 9/11 happened, actually. It was kind of crazy. And so when you were there in New York, and I love it, everybody has a story, everybody has a perspective where they're at.
Mhm.
It was actually a voting day, like it was an election day on the day it happened on Tuesday.
Wow.
So I was out working on the polls, very politically active. So I was working the polls.
You were
in
downtown?
Queens. I was in
uptown?
Queens.
It was in Queens.
Actually, yeah, it was like a
Okay.
local New York election, and so the whole time, and I actually didn't have a place to stay because I was changing apartments. So it was like this really just chaotic time in my life, and so from that experience, it was, I mean, a lot of things you draw from it, sort of globally, you know, with your family, your life, but even personally, what you want to take from it is that nothing lasts, you know, and so like, there was this sort of really sense of you know, gravitas in the scene, and so in the moment, so you really want to figure out like, what do I want to do? What do I love? My life, what are the things that drive me? And while I really enjoyed programming and computer science, and I'm a techie, I'm a nerd, you know, all day, every day, I really wanted to do something more impactful. Really enjoyed storytelling. I'd always been, you know, a storyteller, actor, writer. I used to do you know, sketch comedy, and I was doing casting and stuff. So I made the decision to come out to LA, and I got into a film program at USC, and graduated from, and that's when I met Charity back when I was, you know, my first couple of years in LA, when you're just not used to the weather yet. You're like,
whippersnappers then.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is what LA is like. Oh, man. People just walking around in like swimwear and bikinis is in the middle of the day for no reason. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, it's crazy. And everybody is like, you know, the beauty queen at their school. They all come out to LA and like, oh yeah. You know.
This was post Kardashian.
Post everything apparently. So so
they were kids then.
They were kids then. Yeah, no one knew they were. So we were just all running around, and one of our mutual friends was in the nightlife scene. So we enjoyed ourselves. Yeah. So it was a great period of time. You're coming out here. You're meeting a lot of great artists. You're, you know, trying to figure out what your voice is, and what stories you want to tell, because that's really you know, what life's all about, like who you are and what stories you're trying to tell. And so I got into documentaries and doc series, and so I did like my first project out of film school was a Brazilian music documentary. It was like about this political movement, this musical, political, cultural movement in Brazil called Tropicalia. So in the 60s, there was like this coup, and these artists sort of banded together and helped sort of lead a countercultural revolution, both politically and musically. And so it was a documentary about this movement, and it followed the artists Caetano Veloso, Gilberto Gil, Tom Zay, Gal Costa, like all these musicians who are like legendary artists. They're like it's like as if the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Stevie Wonder, like they all formed like a super group of like, you know, and they all just performed together and hanging out together and stuff like that. And like artists, you know, being arrested, like they were just like all together hanging out doing things. That's what this group was for Brazil. And so,
did you get a chance to travel to Brazil then?
Yeah,
and
actually, and so it was a great story. It was like out of film school, I was like, I really want to do this project. I found this, my friend and partner on the project gave me this book that was like, yo, you got to check this out. And I was like, I love this. And so I wanted Fernando Meirelles to direct our film, who had just finished City of God and The Constant Gardener. I sent him a bunch of emails. He was like, please talk to my agent. Who are you? Like, no one does that. Right. You know, like I was just like a kid in film school. So I was like the one thing, I'm also I'm a middle child, but I have an older sister. And so one thing I'm really good at is being very annoying and bugging the crap out of people. So I just bugged the crap out of him. And I was like sending emails to like his production company in Brazil. I was having like, you know, translate them into Portuguese, and I'd send them and stuff like that. And they're like, please see his agent, who was smart. Like, And so literally I thought that he was not hearing my proposal at all. And then like I got an email from him that was like, hey, I'm gonna be in LA next month. Do you want to meet me and tell me about your project? And so he was coming to town for the Golden Globes for City of God, because he had just like won. And so him and his wife met me at the Chateau Marmont. They were like, yo, come to our, you know, Chateau Marmont, we'll have brunch. You'll tell us about your project. So I went and had like buy like a jacket, like a nice jacket, because I didn't have like a pitch jacket. I don't know, like, you know, like this guy when the pitch, they had like one jacket, they had the pitch, and it's like, you know, blue, and it's like fitted, and they're like, oh, you look smart, you look an agent, you know.
T-shirt with a dinner coat.
Yeah, exactly. The LA pitch look. I had to get the LA pitch look down. And I pitched my heart out, and he really liked the project and signed on to be our EP. And
this was your project, like you
from scratch,
found the book and
just pulled it together from scratch, and it was really great. Yeah, and so like that experience, and then we made the movie, and we ran around the world, won a bunch of awards. It opened at Telluride, like it was like a really successful and great project. And I think there's a couple of lessons I learned from that. One of them is anyone can be gotten to in this town. Like everyone thinks that everyone's so inaccessible. Like, oh, I can't do that because this other person's more important than me or bigger than me, or I can never get to Fernando Reyes or Spielberg, whoever you want to try to get to.
Yeah.
Everyone can be gotten to if you do your homework, tell your story, get a perspective, get a vibe, and then go to them authentically and like, hey, look, this is what I'm trying to say. This is who I am. Yeah. I think you're perfect. This is why. And if you just like lay out the case super clearly, and he fortunately responded. So that was like my first project that I did.
So it stamped you officially in the film business.
Well, I don't know how much it stamped me. I mean, this town is great. This industry is great for like, oh, that's really awesome. What are you doing next? Like, there's no real like, I don't think there's ever a stamping because that makes you feel complacent, but it was definitely a good lesson to get me sort of in the business and sort of, figuring out what's going on.
So getting into the documentary business, I mean, is that where you wanted to stay? Did you ever see yourself making blockbuster films or anything like that? I mean, was that kind of admirable thing to do to come from documentaries?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I ever saw myself doing one thing. And I think that's probably the most consistent thing about me is that I'm just really inconsistent. So I went to documentaries and I started doing documentary series. Like the next project I did was with the Guardian Angels. We did this, we developed a show and sold it to A&E, which was basically like a docu-follow TV show on the Guardian Angels, who are, if you know anything about New York, they're the guys with like the red berets. Yeah, they're like walking around like they're volunteer crime fighters, basically.
Yeah, like it's like Neighborhood Watch. Yeah, man, that's what it was.
It's like Neighborhood Watch, but like crazy, like
to another level. Because they had a little, little karate and stuff going on with them. Yeah,
they were doing karate and stuff in the subways in New York.
I seen one of the berets get their ass whooped though, like real talk
from time to time.
Like, what? And they're like, come on, really?
Yeah,
you're in the wrong part with that.
Yeah, I mean, because they didn't have guns or knives, right? So they come out just they'd be in a line and they
unstrapped
just do karate on like dudes in Bronx, and they're like, first of all, I think people were just shocked that these dudes will come at them with like no weapons. Just karate and some berets.
Well, you see, they inactive now.
Right? Like,
shit got real on the streets.
Well, no, they're still around actually.
No, where?
They
have institutions where they don't go anywhere. They just email you. Stop it.
No. And I got to know them really well. And there's a lot of dudes. I'm a stand for Guardian Angels in this one thing. I think that say what you will about the organization, say what you will about everything, but like the people who want to do this are actually, they do it for all the right reasons.
Definitely.
They're like, yo, my neighbor. Yeah. So our project was about New Orleans after Katrina. The cops had abandoned the city. Like there was nobody really around. It was just like a wasteland. So Guardian Angels were like some of the first people back in New Orleans. And they were like, yo, these are people in New Orleans who are like, we need to take our neighborhood back. The cops aren't around. So we need to police our own cities. And so the Guardian Angel chapter tried to open one in New Orleans. And so we did this documentary series on that. But that's what the pilot was. And so we ended up like selling it to A&E at the time and went on the Bio channel. So I started doing documentary series for a while and doing development there. And then I switched gears and went and started a television network. So I left my fun days in LA in the party scene. I know that's where.
We missed you.
I know, yeah. Like our friends like, where'd you go, dog?
Where's Mo?
Yeah. I'm like, I went to Arkansas, man.
Oh my
God. You're going to start a television network. It's like this for this
in Arkansas. I think so. I was like, what do people think I went? I was like, I'm curious.
I don't know, man. You just kind of threw the smoke bomb and just
like, yo, I think you got somebody
wondering, man.
Got somebody pregnant and had like moves or something. We don't know. And rumors were everywhere.
You didn't post on MySpace then,
no,
Ooh, damn, you dated it.
No,
serious.
Oh,
that was 2000 something.
Man, Man, I was
He telling on you.
I was a Friendster guy anyway. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I know.
They don't
There we
even,
go. Man in the back knows what I'm talking
MySpace
about.
there.
Yeah,
they don't even know about that. You say Friendster, they're like, what? Is that a new app?
Someone's Googling Friendster right now.
exactly,
I'd be like,
right?
what was
For
that?
sure.
Yeah.
That was our social media.
That was.
It was crazy. So we went to Arkansas to start a television network about it was basically it was at the time we founded the first Black owned broadcast television network.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it was, we were a DigiNet, so it was this technology that had just sort of gotten hot at the time. And we had like it was about African American programming. It's called Soul of the South. It was focused on Southern culture, basically. And so it was like food, family, faith, football. We had like movies and had a morning news show. We had an evening show and a political talk show out of DC and an entertainment show. And so we were like, had this facility in Little Rock, Arkansas. And it was like this really amazing experience of doing something for a community that you came from and you believed in, that was underserved, and programming sort of positive television, in a situation that never happened before. And so we got it up to like 30 million households, like 20 markets.
Yeah.
And so we were like all around the South. It was a really fun time traveling around, sort of like building that out. And I think from that, I sort of came back to LA and started building some like digital studios and sort of really getting into sort of digital content at NBC and various production companies. And now I'm starting another company that's sort of very much in the same spirit of Soul of the South, where at that time, what I realized is, what I love doing is telling stories, and I love, the creative process, but I also love doing things to try to make an impact and sort of, had a purpose to them. So really trying to combine all the things that I'm interested in into more things. And so this startup right now is focused on, it's like an e-commerce media play, and it's trying to, create great content around transactions, like, so buying, like e-commerce, basically. But more importantly is sort of is funneling a lot of the profits of the company back into the community. So basically it's like a black shopping network almost, but then you sort of, you buy stuff on the network, and then the profits go back into providing loans and for new minority-led businesses, female-led, minority-led businesses, which is where a lot of our community needs more assistance. Not, yes, nonprofits are great, but it'd be amazing if you could do good and do well at the same time, and make it a for-profit business rather than just.
So did you connect with some Black-owned banks down there to facilitate these things?
That's one of the things that we're reaching out to right now. A lot of credit unions, Black-owned banks, and some places that we can sort of like basically become our own bank. Right. But instead of just being a bank, you want to have the whole piece of the puzzle. You want to be able to make money from it and reinvest, and then make money from it and reinvest. So because I'm a capitalist and I think that works, you just have to make capitalism work, not just for your shareholders, but also for your stakeholders. And your stakeholders are more than just the people that have stock in your company. They're the people, your customers, they're your community, they're your audience, they're the people that you're trying to represent. So like there's more people that you have to be beholden to than just people who own shares of your company. And so that's that's sort of the ethos behind the company.
And you did some work with NBC for a bit. That was fun. That was my suit days. I had to become a suit for a little bit. Yeah. You had to like everyone needs. I bought one. In addition to my pitch jacket.
You had a suit and a pitch jacket.
I only have two nice outfits.
I'm with you. I'm so with you.
Just suit.
Did you wear a tie as well, or it was?
I was kind of a little bit rebellious. I tried to do the no tie look.
I'm from the South, man.
Yeah, I'm from this. I know.
Don't let no tie.
Yeah, it's too hot. It's too hot for a tie. I had a kerchief. No, but it was cool. That was NBC was sort of like, they brought us in to sort of build a digital studio for them. So they wanted to basically create premium digital first content across their brand portfolio. And so, it was like it's like, what does an E show look like on Snapchat, or what does a Bravo show look like on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube? And so like those shows had never been done before at the time. Like they were very rarely like Snapchat shows, we were just sort of the first people that started doing that. We were the first company that put premium content on Musical.ly back when music was a thing. We were on Snapchat very early on. So helping develop what that format was, because it was a new way to tell a story.
Yeah, it's like a short video form.
It's a short video format. Yeah, it's premium, but it's like you're not sitting at home watching a TV. You're on your phone, so you have to like the way you relate and the way you tell that story to your audience just is different. So you have to sort of like figure that out. So that was a really fun experience, and we worked with a lot of really great people over there and built a really strong team. So we're proud of them.
That's what's up. So what's the ultimate for Mr. James, man? I mean, what do you see yourself going from here? I know you got the new business that you've started, but what do you want to see from that? Because you're constantly changing.
Yeah. Honestly, like I think it's sort of what I was saying a little bit before. Is like I'd love, at least for the company, it's called You by You. What I would love for it to do is to be both a successful company financially. So a business model that works, you're telling stories that connect, you're selling products to a community that appreciates it, but you're also building wealth and you're building sort of, you're empowering the community that you're serving so that you could really do both in a meaningful and productive way. And so I want to, if we can create a model that, a powerful model that shows that you can make money and build and invest in a community that's valuable. I think that'd be the ultimate goal for You by You. And in terms of the future, I have no idea. I barely know what I'm doing like in 15 minutes.
Hey, so, this man, right? He should do it. You should look into getting that TED Talk together.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Seriously.
This is a springboard.
Yeah, man.
I like it. I'm definitely gonna appreciate the invitation.
Definitely. You can go out and enlighten.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm gonna need y'all here with me though, because you guys are my security blanket now. Like we'll all do the TED Talk together.
Just call my name, I'll be there.
That's right.
You said I wouldn't have to sing. You're like,
hey man, this is a music show, brother.
Don't you lose your viewership right now? Yeah,
oh man, yeah, they'll stick around.
Yeah.
They'll be here.
Commercial break.
I know, right?
Coming soon. Yo, so where can they find you? Where can they follow your movement?
I mean, I guess you can, for You by You, we're at You by You Network, UXU actually, network. You can definitely go check us out. My Instagram is at Maurice James, and my company that I work a lot through is mojopictures.com, mojopictures.com. But yeah, check out You by You. We're in a little bit, sort of still building the company and a lot of the stuff we're going to come out with, but as some of my favorite people say, watch that space. Watch that space.
Hey. Yeah. So we have a question before we let you go, man. We have a question that Tiz always asks, so we should bring that in.
You sure about that, man? We can't keep going, man. He's got a lot of information.
You know what?
I told you the TED Talk was here.
I'm like nervous about the question. I was like, she got a cheat sheet on this.
Nah, it's no cheat sheet. Nah. But we do need to know, and they need to know also, just from you and what you're doing, what is your superpower?
Oh man, not like if I were a superhero, like I could fly or something like that. Oh, okay.
What is it?
It's a good question. I mean, I think that one of the things that I am most consistent with in my career, other than moving around a lot and not being very consistent at all, is that I feel like my superpower is synthesizing a lot of information or big ideas. I was telling another friend of mine, like I don't really sometimes remember people or places or things. Like I can't recite facts very easily about where things are or directions to get someplace. I'm not very useful in any meaningful way. Like if you were like stuck in the woods, I am not the guy you want with you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're like your car, like I'm not that guy. But if we were like somewhere just like spitballing ideas and trying to synthesize like concepts and things like that, like that's something that I really, really enjoy.
You're a creator, bro.
I love new ideas.
You're a creator.
And so synthesizing new ideas is part of my superpower.
There it is.
Well, that's what I call a producer.
Not a handyman, a producer.
And you are definitely a blessed producer, man. Thank you so much for coming on and giving us some, it is really cool to have that because I do the same thing. but it's really having that rejuvenated spirit to see it happening
Yeah.
and coming from a different angle. And then you came out of Mississippi, so that's good. I went to school in Louisiana, so I was like, okay.
All right,
It still can be done.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. It's like, I mean, you know, when I was coming up, it's like I was the first person ever did something stuff. Like they were like, you know, not first person, but like in my community, it was, you know, it wasn't a pathway that people thought about, you know.
So you should have a street name in Mississippi, man. You should.
I think I need to do a couple more
James
things.
Way or something, you know, like
need to do a couple more accomplishments and like, you know, lead a march or something like that.
You know, Wu-Tang got their own thing going.
They
You know,
sure do.
Tribe Called Quest. You know, you need a James
Go
Way.
and get your street.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, guys, man, we can keep this going. Maurice, man, please come back. Let us know what you got going on, man. This is a community thing, man, and we always here for you, man. And it's good to have friends on that you've known for a lifetime, and then just, you know, they have their words and you have your words to the people, man. I enjoy it, man. I'm getting choked up right now, but you know what I'm saying, brother.
I do, man.
You know what I'm saying.
You're a beautifully sensitive man. I love this.
Yeah. But I don't cry though.
No, he doesn't. I've never ever seen him cry, and I don't have photos of him crying either.
Not at all, man.
I don't know why I said
that. Not at all. Hey, let's give it up for Maurice James, guys.
All right, man. Look at that.
Trip Digital Radio. You know what it is. We will be back.